It's too dark in here. We can't investigate even if we wanted to.
Got it.
Oh, well, I guess we'll just have to die then. Going to bring candles from other room to make room bright, okay?
No.
That won't be necessary.
Ah,
Yeah, not necessary at all. Why?
listen up.
Show him, Kibo. Show him your new power. New power.
His eyes lit up. I, Muiruma, the gorgeous girl genius, have installed a new function in Kibo.
Just leave it to me. I will become the guiding light that shines on you all.
Shine on, shine on! Shine on, you crazy fucking diamond!
Okay, guys.
Oh, man.
What a lame function. You should have made him like a transformer or something.
It's okay.
It's bright now, so we should hurry and investigate.
Okay.
Really? That's gonna be a clue? Okay. Starting to get... That makes me a little sus of Kibo, to be honest. So I actually want to look at this first. Oh, there's something on the wall. That's... I can't tell what that says. No. It's the wooden dog statue used in the seance. I believe it's called the Dog Dog. During the seance, this wooden statue was on top of the cage. It took 4 of us to remove it. The wooden statue is pretty heavy.
If I remember correctly.
Kyo said it weighs about 175 pounds. That's about the weight of 2 girls.
What?
How do you know that? What do you know about girls? Have you ever been touched by a woman besides your mother? Jesus Christ. What?
I'm kidding.
Right.
Is this...
If this heavy thing was on top of the cage, Tenko wouldn't have been able to get out easily.
Okay.
You're right. That didn't sound like you were kidding earlier. She wasn't. Alright, so I guess not. But she got stabbed in the back of the neck. Magic circle. Kyo drew on the floor. At least it was.
Dear.
It's been completely stomped over. I suppose it was unavoidable.
Well...
Was this drawn with salt?
Yes.
Whenever I perform a seance, I always use salt.
What?
Are you feeling alright? You sound ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
I have performed many successful seances. Why, I've even had spirits enter my body.
Right already.
Shut up, I don't want to hear about your stupid delusions. Maki really doesn't beat around the bush.
But
With all these footprints, I can't make out the original
what?
circle. We'll find out in Kyo's lab. It should be written in the Cage Dog Village document.
Hey.
Isn't that right, Kyo? He seems depressed. I suppose that makes sense. That's also a little sus. You know, it's a little on the sus side. You know, given how quickly Kyo asked about the 2 blackened, do you think he's wondering because he's one of them? Rock next to Tenko's body. This must be. Tenko had her forehead on this rock, hunched over. She had to make herself small to fit inside the cage. Tenko's dead body. She took her last breath crouched over like this. According to the Monokuma file, her injury is the stab wound to her neck. Oh, wait, no, it doesn't need to have been through the back. Why have I been thinking it needs to be the back of the neck? It definitely doesn't. This wound was fatal. This must have caused instant death. I didn't hear a scream during the seance. Ah, wait. Yeah. Would Tenko really keep her mouth shut despite the pain?
Nope.
Her death might not have been instant, but she couldn't have gone far with that before she bled out.
Huh?
What do you
What's the
mean?
point?
You were concerned about that, right?
Okay.
With a wound like this deep, the victim is too shocked to do anything except die. You speaking from experience?
That's obvious.
Of course. Quick deaths are my specialty. Well, that makes sense.
By the way,
The real question is, what was she killed with? I don't see a murder weapon. It's probably under the floor. This floorboard is loose. Whoa. And it's the one right under Tenko. Why is this floorboard
if I
loose?
remember correctly,
It wasn't like this before. It must have come loose during the seance. Why would it come loose during the seance? A floorboard this thick and heavy wouldn't have come loose easily. Someone must have loosened it on purpose. Yes. Very astute. Oh, cage is in here. Okay. This is the cage used in the seance.
Is this?
It looks wide enough. It looks to be around 3 feet high and 5 feet wide. It's a pretty large iron cage. Big enough for a person to fit inside. Probably. It was Himiko who didn't remove the cage first. I thought that was just going to replay the flashback, so I probably shouldn't have done that. Look at this.
Is this?
Bloodstain on the bottom of the cage. Probably Tenko's blood, yeah?
That's true.
I imagine so. The spatter must be from when she was killed.
What do you mean?
Which means Tenko was killed while she was inside the cage. Fucking astonishing development right there. Never would have seen that coming.
Okay.
Think you're right. Tenko went under the cage before the seance. Was anyone entertaining the possibility that, like, she left and then came back? I mean, I guess maybe through the floorboard, but, like, what the fuck's going on in that case? When the cage was lifted after a seance, she was already dead. Like, the floorboard is, like, pretty out. Like, it's moved a lot. If she was stabbed right when the cage was lifted, that would explain this blood stain, right?
Huh?
Hmm. Perhaps she wasn't killed during the seance, but the exact moment the cage was lifted? That's a Wait, what? What? How? I don't follow that train, to be honest with you. I mean, if it was when the cage was lifted, I guess Himiko's the murderer, but why would she kill Tenko? It's a small opening in the corner. She was right next to this hole, wasn't she? Do you think Himiko killed Tenko because she thought the fucking Tenko killed Angie? Doesn't look big enough for a person to get through, but still.
Is this?
A hole. Looks like there's a space under here, too. Hold on. I can see something below. It looks like something dropped down there. Something dropped down there.
Minute.
After we check everywhere else, why don't we go under the floor and see for ourselves? Huh. Killed when the cage was lifted. Fucking how, though? It's the white sheet we used for the seance. This was placed on top of the cage. The one who removed it...
Is this?
This cloth is pretty thick. It's similar to a window curtain, but it's completely opaque. And on the back, there's a blood stain on it, right around the middle of the sheet. But no hole in the fabric, which means Tenko wasn't stabbed through the cloth.
Okay.
No, she got stabbed from the floor. She was stabbed while underneath the cloth, yes. Look at the candles. Only source of light, yeah. Kill the culprit in complete darkness. I mean, so, like, what? Are we gonna say Kibo did it from under the floorboards with his high beams on and nobody saw the high beams? Like, what's going on with this one, huh? Thoughts? I said things that made Tenko look suspicious, and now this. Yep, you basically killed her.
Stop it.
Cry later.
What? Because.
Crying won't bring Tenko back, and if we don't investigate thoroughly, we'll die too.
Okay.
We need to find the truth and pin down the culprit, for Tenko and all of us.
I guess.
You're right, Tenko would want us to figure it out so she'd have no regrets. That would be the best way to apologize.
Well...
These floorboards seem a little unstable to you. They're tough to walk on. The floorboards aren't nailed down, they're just lying on top of cross pieces. That's what Gonta told me. That's probably the reason they're a little unstable. Seems pretty unsafe. Yeah, they've only been laid on top, that's why they're unstable. Well, the boards are fairly thick and sturdy. I can't imagine they'd come loose easily.
Is this?
But if someone wanted to remove a floorboard, they could easily do so, right?
Okay.
Yes, I suppose. Uh-huh.
Hey!
Himiko! Hey, Himiko! Be strong, Himiko! Hey! 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 Himiko! Hey!
Wait,
Gonta, if you shake Himiko that much, she's going to break.
What?
But she not talking. It's like Himiko not even here.
like I thought.
She must have been really shocked over Tenko. Let's leave her be for now. Okay.
Why?
First Angie, then Tenko.
How can this be?
Gonta's so ashamed. Why Gonta no protect friends? Kibo,
Leave it to me.
leave it to me. I will become the guiding light that shines on you all. Amazing. This has been very insightful so far.
That cannot be.
Why? Why did this happen?
I knew it.
Kyo, I know the murder was pretty shocking.
But of course.
Of course, I am shocked about that as well. But why did the seance fail? We performed all of the steps flawlessly. Well, the host did get murdered mid-seance, so that might cause some problems.
Ah, yes.
Oh, if we perform the cage child again and summon Tenko's spirit this time.
This is stupid.
Cut the crap, just tell me what happened. Both you and Shuichi were present, right? Did she get killed during the
I
seance?
see, yes.
True, it may be best to move past what happened to know why the seance failed.
Is that so?
Whatever, just hurry up. At the time, in order to begin the seance, we had Tenko, the spiritual medium, position herself as a turtle within the magic circle, so her head touched the marker stone. Then, Shuichi and Kokichi placed the cage over Tenko. After that, I placed the white cloth over the cage. Then, all four of us placed the wooden statue of the dog god atop the cage. Afterwards, we stood in the four corners of the room. Kokichi and Shuichi blew out the candles.
Yes.
Finally, we all sang the Cage Child song. The seance should have been complete, but... Now that you mention it, I remember hearing a strange sound during the song. I don't know how anyone missed it, to be honest with you. It was quite noticeable. Like, I'm just saying, like, that sound effect is probably a little too dramatic for what they were trying to convey, because it sounds like a whole shelf just fell over. It is a mystery to me as well. I thought perhaps someone may have tripped. That was pretty loud for someone tripping. Perhaps Kyo knows something.
What do you mean?
And then what happened?
Yes.
We called out to her, but no reply came. I had Shuichi and Kokichi relight the candles. And then we removed all the items from within the circle in the opposite order. First, all of us removed the dog god statue. Then I took off the white cloth. Himiko ran over to the cage, and the moment she lifted it... Then it sounds like Tenko was definitely killed during the seance.
No.
But would it not be difficult in such darkness? Besides, she was in the cage, yes.
Then?
Well, you see, there's a guy over there with glowing eyes, so... Then, when was she killed?
Well, that's...
That is a problem.
I see, yes.
There is another problem.
How?
And that is, why ever did the seance fail? I simply cannot figure it out.
Perhaps.
Maybe someone moved from their corner. Did someone else sneak in?
What's the point?
Obviously, since this seance was clearly a sham. He didn't like that very much. Maki never was one to pull her punches.
Hey!
Maki, we finished investigating up here. Perhaps we should check under the floor.
By the way,
Seems pretty dark down there. What should we use for light? Hey, yo, robot.
That's true.
Let's bring a candle. With Kibo's light from up here, that should be fine.
okay.
Then I'll go get a candle. Remove that floorboard so we can go down.
Okay.
Got it. I pulled off some of the floorboards near the hole and took the candle from Maki. Then we carefully made our way through the hole and under the floor. This is a lot more spacious than I thought. You can move it pretty easily on all fours.
Okay.
Let's look around for clues. It'd be pretty stupid if we found no clues after crawling around in this dusty place.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I've found a clue.
Okay.
The blood on this sickle is fresh. This is it. This is the murder weapon.
Is this...
This came from my research lab. It did.
Well...
A sickle can be used to assassinate a target. So, like... You have a sickle in your lab, but you don't have a sword? Like, as far as, like, weapons go, a sickle is pretty shitty in comparison to a sword. Because the blade points to you, which is a bit counterintuitive. It can be thrown without losing any lethality. Extreme lie. And you can hide it under... What are you talking about? Okay, yes, the optimal weapon to hide under your clothes and then throw at your target. A sickle. Okay.
Well...
If she was attacked with this, she wouldn't stand a chance. The blade is about 6 inches.
That's right.
And since Tenko is in the cage, she wouldn't have been able to defend herself.
But...
But even if this is our murder weapon, how did the culprit attack Tenko in the cage? Guys, this shouldn't be hard to figure out. Where are you right now? What location are you currently in? Right? Anyway, the blade can fit the gaps in the cage because... My man is actually like, they could have stuck it through the outside of the cage. No, you fucking moron. What is... No, that was never a... Like, why did you even consider that? Could it reach her neck?
That's true.
The cage is 3 feet high. If you were to stab it with a 6-inch blade... There's no holes in the cloth either, guys. Like, you know, it would depend on Tenko's posture, but I don't think it's impossible. Then her posture is the question.
Hey.
If the weapon is down here... well, okay. Suppose, then, like... You pop the floorboard under her. That, like, shifts her onto her side or something, and then you stab her from the outside of the cage. Seems more likely she just got stabbed through the floor. You know? And hey, if the weapon is down here, the culprit must have thrown it away,
That's
right?
true.
Perhaps after killing Tenko, the culprit threw the sickle under the floor in the dark. Or they could have been under the floor the entire time. Either of these is possible. Well, this doesn't look like it goes to the adjacent rooms, though. Oh, never mind. Never mind. Never mind. Because I was like, if this only connects to the one room, then it kind of has to be Himiko, because it got thrown down the hole next to where she was. But upon reflection, there may be another explanation. It's a blood stain. Wait, what? There's 2 blood stains? There's a dry and a wet stain down here? It's pretty far from the blood, Tenko's blood, where Tenko's blood is dripping down. It's under the same floorboard, just at different ends. What the hell?
Hey.
Why is that dry? The back of the floorboard has blood on it, too. You're right, there's a little bit of blood on the underside of this floorboard.
What do you mean?
Did Tenko's blood spatter here when she got
That's
killed?
true.
It's unlikely to go from one end to the other, like in that pattern. But those blood... Yeah, these are dry. So, they're not Tenko's, then, are they? Because Tenko died, like, minutes ago. Must be some reason these particular stains are dry. What the fuck? That's a baffling one right there. Blood dripping from the gaps in the floorboards. Fresh blood. Definitely Tenko's. Yep, actively dripping in front of us, you know? So... some of the wood has been corroded and is broken off. You can see into the next room. This is the wall of the empty room, right? Looks like there's wood along the wall. This part is rotted away. Looks like natural rot. This hole wasn't made intentionally. but I can get into the next room through
That's
here.
true.
If I remember correctly, the room next door is also empty, right? Then the culprit could have gone from room to room by using under here instead of using the hallway. True, but it would have been difficult moving around under the floor. We did alright because we had a light. Without that, it'd be pitch black. So, you know, maybe they just had a light? Like, the gaps in the floorboards don't look especially big, you know? I guess that's the question. Like, can you see under the floor? Could you see the light under the floor if they had one? Make it impossible to... They could have used a light like we're doing right now. True. So they're not denying it. Is that possible? They're not denying the possibility. The question is, like these floorboards do look pretty flush against each other, but that's one of those things that's hard to judge in video games, isn't it? Like, does it just look like that because of how it's rendered, or is there actually, like, not a gap there? You know? Anything else down here? Oh, the crossbeams. Oh, that crossbeam's been cut. Part of the crosspiece that supports the floorboards is cut off.
That's true.
Right under the floorboard. That floorboard there, huh? So they cut themselves while they were cutting this off then, I assume, since that's right next to where the dried blood is. How the fuck you do that, man? What were you doing to cut this off if that's what happened? It's near the loose floorboard and the portion missing is about the same width. And that's from what I can see of it.
That's true.
It wasn't broken off naturally, this was cut by someone. There should be saws in the warehouse, so they could have used that. Question is why. Another cross piece is supporting the floorboard, so it might not fall if this portion is missing. So what purpose did this serve? I think we finished investigating here.
Is that alright?
So I guess that's the question. I mean, it seems unlikely they did it from the room. It seems like it has to have been under the floors, but, you know, I guess it's all about how big the gap actually is. But that being prepared ahead of time is like, did they stomp on her? Stomp on that floorboard to move her in there and then cut her from the outside? I mean, I guess it's possible, but... You want to head back up? Glad you asked. I was starting to get fed up with all the dust. Like, doing it from under the floor seems much more likely. It's all a question of the light as to whether or not they did or didn't do it, I suppose. Though, doing it from under the floor seems way more likely than doing it in the room. After Maki and I crawled out from under the floor, we put the floorboards back. Well, but I suppose... The noise that we heard was obviously from the floorboards. Though they could have just moved that from underneath as well, and that ended up causing the noise. I don't know. This is weird. Anyway, return to our investigations. Did the stone move? That would give an answer as to whether or not the floorboard got, like, knocked out from under her suddenly or not.
By the way,
We've only been investigating this room. You sure that's wise? No, obviously not. We should look at the other room.
because
If Angie and Tenko have different killers, then the blackened we need to vote for is the culprit for the first murder, the culprit who killed Angie. That's what Monokuma said.
then
So instead of investigating Tenko's death, shouldn't we be investigating Angie's? Well,
Okay.
we should do both, though.
But
This is bigger than the killing game. For the sake of the two who died, I need to reveal the truth of both their deaths. Well, I understand why you feel that way, but if you plan on investigating the other crime scene again, we should probably hurry. Like, did this stone move? I can't... Oh, wait, no, I have to go closer to the body, don't I? Did that get moved? Well, I guess it doesn't need to have either, because it's a fairly small section of the floorboard that actually got moved. Because if the stone was just there to begin with, it wouldn't have gotten bumped by this. Anyway. Let's go and wait, when I came to the hallway, I seen more surprising than I could ever imagine unfolded. What? We did it!
It's a lie.
Oh my fucking god. How could you do that to me? Oh. Oh god, why? Why is he alive? Why couldn't he be dead? Oh. Fuck. Did I surprise you? Were you gonna scream or cry in terror? My reaction was very different.
Huh?
What are you doing?
Oh?
Sorry, I'm just a little lightheaded from the blood loss. Yeah, this is real blood.
Why?
Okay, so what do you do? No problem with that. Carries on as if he didn't say anything weird there. Got curious about something, so I decided to search the empty room next door. Then suddenly, I stepped through the floorboards.
Huh?
You stepped through a floorboard?
That's so mean.
Jeez, that got me good. Because of this, I tripped and fell pretty hard.
Got a minute?
If you're gonna lose consciousness, do it after you tell us everything.
Ah.
Oh, sorry. My bad. Yeah, I guess there was no crosspiece supporting this floorboard, so I kind of stepped through. What bad luck. Crosspiece was gone. Does that mean... Damn, we're not gonna get to investigate that situation further? Okay.
Confidence. Dreams. That's what the killing game is all about. Killing game fans, hold your head high and watch with your own two eyes. Baseball, soccer, mobile games, they're all nothing compared to the killing game. The killing game just can't be beat. Behold, students, the entrance to the trial grounds.
I was starting to wonder if he was ever going to stop. I guess time's up. Ah, man. It's because of you guys I didn't have enough time to check something. What were you trying to check?
See?
I wanted to research the seance again, so I brought this document with me. Oh, is it not the same as what we just did? But unfortunately, I couldn't find anything new that could be used as a clue. I would like to, like, cross-reference the circle a little bit. Kyo perfectly reenacted the seance as what was written in the document. He drew his magic circle the exact same way as in the picture. Never mind. Not only that, he used the same exact tools, too. Nothing suspicious about this whole thing. Well, I wanted to check the finer details, but I'll tell you about it later. So, it seems a little weird to me that you're pointing out how there was nothing suspicious. I wasn't super suspicious about Kyo until you presented this to me. At the class trial. See you there. I hope he bleeds out during the trial. Let's go too.
That's true.
Yeah, okay. Is Maki nervous? I see. Even she gets nervous.
You wanna die?
What are you staring at? Oh man, come on. Why you gotta make me walk all the way there? I could teleport there. That's at least something. Man, please. Please. I keep trying to, like, go left and right across the map, but no, that's not how it is.
Oh dear.
It would appear we have all gathered, but it seems there are less and less of us. Peculiar.
Oh.
Less friends mean it that much harder to solve mystery.
Don't worry.
Does it? Well, don't worry. Oh, you're looking well suddenly. Ah. I can't believe the game would play such a cruel trick on me. I'm sure you've gotten a little smarter by now, don't you? Yeah, Gota do best to help. I wanted you to graduate from super idiot level to at least Kaito idiot level. What's that supposed to mean?
Are you okay?
More importantly, are you okay, Kaito? Yeah, I'm feeling better now. But wow, Maki roll sure does pack a punch.
I don't know.
It's your fault. You don't need to worry about our dwindling numbers. Only dipshits have died so far. I seem to remember you being quite upset when Kimiru died.
That being said...
Kirumi, not Kimiru. I know it's a tall order, but try to use your brains this time so I don't have to use mine.
Booyah!
You've never really presented any helpful ideas. These golden brain cells of mine are a gift to the entire
Unacceptable.
world. It's as though every time you open your mouth, you become less likable. My man, my dude, fucking smashing that nail
Rest in peace.
on the head. Atua, please, lend us your strength. It may be difficult for us to rely on Atua, considering what happened to Angie, whom Atua loved most of all.
Well, you know.
So I actually have a question I just thought of. I thought about this earlier, but I'm bringing it up now. Why do you think the killer even tried to arrange the room Angie was in so that it was locked? Like, that doesn't really achieve anything, does it? Like, that's not gonna stop us from figuring it out. It's not gonna really hide any clues from us. So why did they lock it in the first place? Because all locking it would seem to imply is that one of the student council members locked the door, or got in and then locked it, right? But then at the same time, doesn't that make it seem like more likely it was a student council member? Do you follow? Does this make sense? Surely locking the door only incriminates the student council members. So why would a student council member do that? You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but basically I'm wondering if it's being set up to make it look like it was a student council member and it actually wasn't a student council member. She shouldn't have relied on Atua in the first place. But seriously, it's kind of funny seeing a robot believe in God, especially Atua. Why especially Atua?
I also...
So what? Robots can believe in God.
Indeed.
Actually, before I even met I almost said Gandhi. And I don't know where that came from. I had a similar experience. Hearing voices, I mean. Kibo, we might need to talk about that later. That's not normal. You might call it an inner voice. It tells me what to do when I'm in trouble. As long as you're going to say... How long are you going to say that for? Atua and ghosts don't matter right now.
Jeez.
Yeah, the trial this time is going to be rough. We got caught in Monokuma's trap. His trap.
That's right.
You probably made the fourth floor so scary on purpose to prevent me from investigating. Oh, I'm no doubt. Well, you have to stop this world-class intellect.
Right already.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
There's no way. Don't you feel stupid? Don't you feel like an idiot?
Hey, so
Shuichi, say something. Huh? What should I say? Anyway. Some of the water clipped through the stone platform. Unplayable. As usual, we walked toward the elevator in silence. As soon as we remaining survivors stepped aboard. We descended. Excuse me. That looks... I need you to capitalize that W, to be honest. Perhaps because there were fewer of us, the elevator seemed to move faster. I'm not sure that's how elevators work, at least when they're descending. And so we fell faster and faster, downward into the black. The elevator stopped, and just like always, the doors parted slowly. The light that shines on us from the other side, the bright light of our future. Or is it?
Uh-oh.
Boy, they look really depressed. Must be because there's even less participants now.
Don't say they look depressed, you'll make Monodam mad. As much as I'd love to keep hearing this adorable back and forth.
Now then,
Let's hurry up and get this started.
extreme!
At last, the class trial will begin. I hope you enjoy it to your heart's content.
The third class trial was about to begin. Angie Yonaga, the ultimate artist. She created the Ultimate Academy Student Council to prevent the killing game. Well, ostensively to prevent the killing game, but, you know. Then Tenko Chabashira, yeah, the ultimate Aikido master. She hated men. Yeah, we know. But I knew that she hated this terrible killing game even more. I'm not sure she did. The two were killed, but the two who were killed were both trying to stop the killing. Saying that implies that all the others were trying to let the killing continue? And who was the one that killed them? Was it one person? The fact you're even bringing that up indicates it's probably two people. Two different people. We need to pin that down in this class trial. In order to live, we have to find the truth. And I will fight for it. I will fight with truth and lies. Which still seems a little counterintuitive to me. But hey, you know, whatever. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. Can I equip a new skill? Oh, I could equip a few skills. Oh wait, no I can't. I was looking at slots, but I don't have, it's the points I don't have. Whatever, let's go. I never really noticed the skills anyway, to be honest with you.
Now then.
We know.
Also, refute
We know.
now. Smart.
Sorry, everyone. I don't think I'm gonna be much help this time.
This time. Remember
Because
to stay
of Monokuma's
hydrated.
disruptions, I couldn't do a thorough investigation.
I can tell Monokuma is overcompensating to hide his self-consciousness.
What's that got to do with anything?
Next time, spend less time fixing your hair and more time investigating, spaceman.
Shut up! I don't need to hear some comedy act from you two weirdos.
Your hair is absurd, though, just so you know.
Who did it? Who killed Angie and Tenko?
Do not let your emotions hasten your judgment. There may be two killers.
So, our other culprit might not be one of us here.
What?
What do you mean?
The transfer student.
Oh, right.
Maybe our resurrected transfer student dragged Angie and Tenko into the grave.
But they're still there. They didn't get dragged anywhere.
Stop it! Stop making stuff up!
Say something, Shuichi. It'll be a mess if this keeps going on.
Yo, you see fucking Angie's portrait? Okay, whatever you say, dude. Is it even possible for a revived corpse to be the culprit? I mean, if we assume necromancy is possible, then yes. In the interest of being thorough, I should clear things up here. We're not gonna entertain the necromancy angle? We're not gonna follow that one through a little bit more?
This crime was committed by the recently deceased. They came back to life and killed 2 of our classmates.
No!
So, ritual did work?
Who was resurrected, I wonder?
Angie did say she was gonna bring Rantaro back. Yes, Rantaro was resurrected. The culprit is the late Rantaro Amami!
Please, stop it!
Case closed, boys. Pack her up. We've figured it out. I'm guessing it's the Necronomicon,
was
since that
committed by
they
the
didn't
recently
she didn't
deceased.
actually perform the ritual.
Back to life.
No!
So, Ritual... That's wrong!
No! What an amazing line.
I don't think Angie's ritual succeeded. According to the Necronomicon Monokuma showed us, you have to burn the Necronomicon in the ritual.
Maybe she just performed a different necromancy ritual. You never know.
If Angie's ritual had succeeded, the book would have been gone.
So she must have been killed before the ritual was complete, since the book was still intact.
Then, going to think Rantaro probably not culprit.
Maybe.
Oh, I guess you're right.
Well, duh. There's no way a dead person could resurrect.
You sure?
Now hold on a second. I can't let that comment stand.
Oh yeah, summon the dead right now.
Sure, everybody knows that you can't bring the dead back to life. But it's easy at the Ultimate Academy, as long as you use the Necronomicon.
What are you talking about? There's no way that's possible.
But it's true. I never lie about motives.
Daddy said so he can't be wrong. Raising the dead is totally possible.
I mean, I do believe that it would have happened. I just am curious as to the mechanics behind it.
Man, I can't believe you guys wasted such a perfectly good motive. You should have let me use it to bring Monodum back to life.
But
Monodum is still alive, though.
I'm just kidding. I wouldn't waste a resurrection on Monodum's corpse.
okay, Jesus Christ.
Oh? So resurrecting the dead was actually possible this whole time?
There's no way it's possible.
There's no way that could
Oh,
happen, idiots.
cursor.
Monokuma is trying to confuse us. Let's hurry up and find out who the Blackened is.
If our transfer student isn't the culprit, then blame falls to one of us.
No, it can't be.
Who did it? Step aside, Half Pint. I'll handle this. I don't know about Tenko, but I'm pretty fucking sure Kyo murdered Angie.
You're accusing Kyo for that one? Not Tenko?
What? Why?
Don't play dumb with me, Creepshow. I already know what happened.
Okay.
The culprit used a katana to kill Angie. And it was found in Kyo's research lab. Which makes you, Kyo, automatically suspicious.
But anyone could have taken that katana, you see?
So that rusty katana was the murder weapon. You were the only one who cared about that thing, Kyo.
I did not care about some katana.
Just admit it, you shit-eating worm. You went to the classroom, broke in, and murdered the fuck out of Angie! Booyah! I'm a fucking cheat!
So what does front door say exactly? I'm assuming it's that. Door is locked, look at each. I'm guessing it's that on the going to the lab part, because I mean, he didn't
Research lab.
break in.
But
Care about
That's a lie
just
for one
admit it,
thing,
you
though.
shit-eating worm.
Actually, is it that? What's Smokey's account? Oh no, it's probably this. Yeah.
You went to the classroom, broke in.
Yeah, okay.
That's wrong!
adjacent to the original object I was going to pick.
No, Kyo would not have been able to enter Angie's lab. Isn't that right, Tsumugi?
Yeah. Before Angie locked herself up in her research lab, she said she wasn't going to open up for anyone but student council members.
And Kyo is not a member. She wouldn't have opened the door for him.
Kyo couldn't have killed Angie even if he wanted to.
I had no desire to kill her in the first place.
So whoever killed Angie must have been one of the student council members, yeah?
I was doing a bit to lead you to the right answer. Can't believe you actually got it.
Right.
Oh, how clever.
You can just ignore her, Gonta.
I try to.
The remaining student council members are Gonta, Kibo, Tsumugi, and Himiko.
Well, it can't be Himiko. She was besties with Angie. I trust their friendship. You guys do too, right?
I mean, yes, but the preceding night had a strange interaction.
Yeah, of course.
Can we trust their friendship so readily?
Obviously. Let's believe in them.
That trims our list of suspects down to 3. Gonta, Tsumugi, and Kibo.
If it turns out Gunta murders anybody, I'm going to feel really betrayed.
Yep. The culprit is one of those 3 people.
You mean one of those 2 people? Because a robot ain't people, Jack!
Okay.
I will let that remark slide. Anyway, aren't these accusations just a tad too hasty?
Whatevs. The culprit should confess already. Gonta, Keyboy, or Tsumugi? Well?
No, not Gonta. Gonta would never kill Angie.
Yeah, Gonta's a gentleman. You shouldn't suspect either of us.
Well, but you're not, though.
Hey, stick up for me too.
Gonta definitely not hurt anyone. Torture Gonta if you don't believe.
Torture might be a bit too far, but Gonta and I aren't the culprits.
And I'm not the culprit either. Jeez.
Gonta
I'm
not
not
culprit.
the culprit.
Alright. Nice little V action here.
Must consider other
Gunta
gentlemen.
first.
Surely there must be suspects
Gentlemen,
outside the
not
student
betray
council.
student council.
That's utterly impossible.
For last night?
A dead chick
Gonta
can't
and
be the
Louie talking to
culprit!
book friends.
Why?
Only
Much
student
better
council
than being
members
out
had
too late
access.
at night.
Look, I don't know who the
Ask
culprit
my
is,
friends if Kyo
Robots
doubt
born
Gonta.
wise.
but it's definitely not
I
me.
can't.
Is that a robophobic remark?
Alright, Kibo next.
We must
Gonta
consider
is
other
gentlemen.
possibilities. Surely there must be suspects
Gentlemen,
outside the
not
student
betray
council.
student council.
That's utterly impossible.
For last night?
A dead chick
Not just
can't be the
anyone can open
culprit!
that door.
Friends.
Why?
Only student
Better
council
than being
members had
out too late
access.
at night.
Ah. Fuck.
Look, I don't know who the culprit is,
Doubt
but
Gonta.
definitely not
That was a big lie right there. He can open the door. Though, tragically, I don't actually think it was Kokichi.
Only student council members had access.
Easy.
I heard it! No, it wasn't just student council members that could have opened that lab door.
What was it you said earlier about Kyo opening the door, Shuichi? Unless you're a student council member, you can't enter Angie's lab, right?
I was referring to Kyo. He couldn't have done it, but you could have. Because I saw you open the classroom lock by picking it.
The problem is that, like, I don't think the game is ever actually going to kill Kokichi. So, I don't think it's him. Because I feel like Kokichi will be alive
Oh,
at the end
that
of the game.
happened?
Which
I totally forgot.
will be just heartbreaking to me, but...
So you're going to pretend you don't remember, huh?
Quit glaring at me like that. Of course I remember. Yeah, I did it. I killed Angie.
I'd love if that was true, but...
Wait, what? What did you just...
I picked the lock to her lab, snuck into the room, and then wham! Killed Angie. The culprit was me, all along.
So, like, you're obviously talking shit, but why?
What are you saying? Is this some kind of joke?
Nah, no joke. I thought that if I confessed, I could atone for my sins. And it helped. I feel so much
Like,
better.
I know you're full of shit, but, like, what's the point, dude? Like, why are you doing this?
Wait, so Kokichi really is culprit?
No, of course not.
No, he's lying. I think. Maybe?
He's lying. I'm certain of it.
No, definitely not a lie. I killed Angie. Shouldn't you guys believe the culprit when they confess?
Jesus fucking Christ.
Then let me ask you, culprit. How did you lock the room?
Huh? Well, it's the same as opening it. You pick the door closed from the outside.
No, that doesn't make sense.
Huh? What doesn't make sense? Can't you lock a door by picking it?
Maybe, but that's not how the culprit locked the room. They used a different method.
What different method?
Yeah, Mumbles. Use your big boy voice and explain yourself.
There were 2 doors to the classroom, and the one locked last was.
I mean, are we sure that one was locked last?
That's it! The back door. That's how they made this a locked room mystery.
Well, yeah, I guess that one has to be last.
The back door had a sliding lock, yes? How was it locked
Well-
from the outside?
Well, no, that doesn't have to be the last one. Actually, I'm not sure how this disproves what Kokichi said, other than the fact he didn't point that lock out. Like, it's not Kokichi, but, like, if he could pick it out, pick it from the outside, that doesn't need to have been the one that was locked last. This doesn't really disprove what Kokichi said.
The culprit used a certain tool.
The tool the culprit used. Oh, mind mine. Ugh. Not this shit again. That.
I see it! The gold leaf katana that was stabbed into Kaede's effigy. The culprit used that to hit the knob of the sliding lock to lock the door.
So the gold leaf was on the sliding lock
Because when the katana hit the lock, some of the gold leaf rubbed off on it.
I feel like we're skipping a few steps to get to that. Like, what if the paint just came off on their hand and then they used their, then they put their gold leaf covered hand on the lock. I feel like we've skipped a few steps to get to this.
The gold leaf on that katana did peel rather easily.
Yeah, but so why wouldn't it have just peeled on their hands and then they did it?
That evidence rings a bell. Specifically, a school bell.
I don't know. I don't really like those last 2 exchanges we had. I don't feel like they proved very much.
Huh? Are you talking about a different school? What school was it?
Now, that doesn't matter anymore. Let's not dwell on the past.
Ooh, the gold leaf landed on the sliding lock when the katana touched it. So that means the culprit used the katana to move the sliding lock, right?
Sure. But again, I feel like we skipped a step in determining that.
But wait, how did they move it with a katana? And from outside Angie's lab?
The clue that might give us the answer is the layout of the area itself. It was an odd setup after all. The katana stabbed into the effigy. The effigy's hung upside down.
Angie didn't do that as part of the ritual?
No. Nowhere in the Necronomicon did it say you had to hang the effigies.
If it was not part of the ritual, then it must have been for a different purpose, right?
What could that have been? The culprit somehow used the setup to lock the room. In that case, I need to know the reason behind every step of that setup. If I do that, the way the culprit locked the room should be clear. So I honestly do not know at all how this happened. So to be honest, I'm curious to how we figured this one out. Because I've got no clue what the overall, like, what the setup does exactly. Who turned the handle of the lock? Katana's hilt. Not who, what? I'm illiterate. What was done to make the katana turn the lock? Katana was stabbed into effigy? I don't know what the last step is here. How was the effigy manipulated to make the katana affect the lock? Swinging it back and forth? No. Spinning it? How, though?
It connects! That's it. The reason the culprit stuck the katana into the effigy was so that it would hit the sliding lock as the effigy spun.
Oh, wait, I guess you wind... Yeah, you, like, spin it around so you wind the rope out. Wind the rope up. Then you go outside that door quickly, and it'll spin round and catch it.
Effigy spun?
That's right. If you spun the effigy, the rope it was hanging from would twist.
I see. This in hindsight is very obvious.
Then, if you let it go, the rope would unwind and the effigy would spin the other way. And of course, the katana would spin with it.
I see. So the culprit used the katana's counterspin to push the lock into place?
That just makes sense. It just seems very strange to skip the intermediate step of, like, well, what if the gold paint was just on the dude's hand, you know?
The culprit simply needed to spin the effigy's rope.
It's just
and then
strange.
swiftly leave.
It's just strange that you go straight to this answer without, like, exploring the more simple answer first. But, you know, to be fair, it's Danganronpa. It was never going to be the more simple answer, but...
This would cause the spinning katana to hit the sliding lock. And thus was the back door of an empty classroom locked from the inside.
Yes, That's how Angie's lab was locked. By using the effigy with a katana.
A plan born from the heart of a sword traveling through the air to intercept us.
What?
Oh, but could it have moved the slide lock so easily?
The sliding lock was pretty loose. A little push could move it. As long as the spinning katana hit the lock, it would have slid into position.
Even if the culprit failed the first couple times, they could keep trying until it locked.
Seems like they probably had to do it a couple times.
Which is why the culprit chose to strike at nighttime, as to avoid detection.
Yes, since the student council prohibited anyone from walking around at nighttime.
Are you saying it's the student council's fault?
I didn't say that.
I am.
In any case, the culprit probably used the murder weapon for this trick. It had to have been the right length to hit the sliding lock from the effigy.
The culprit couldn't find a blade long enough in my lab, so they settled for the katana.
The other effigies were only hung up so we'd think it was some kind of ceremony. That way, we wouldn't notice the lock trick.
But Kokichi did say earlier that he could have picked the lock closed. I don't want to completely ignore that possibility. But I can't imagine the culprit would have done all this just for a distraction.
Cause like, you know, yeah, there's still the possibility Kokichi just had some gold shit on his hand and he pushed it on the inside to lock it and then just picked the other lock closed, you know? Like, again, it just seems strange we don't closely examine the simpler choice first.
If that's the case, then Kokichi's confession earlier was actually...
Seriously? You fucking lied again?
Like, yes, obviously, there was no way that was ever true. But to be fair, the way we disproved it did not really convince me.
Cough it up, Kokichi!
I know he didn't do it because this is like the third question in the trial. You know, that's why I know.
Man, you guys got me. Okay, I'm not the culprit.
You're telling the truth this time, right?
I want to say I'm lying, but I'm not.
Why did you say you were the culprit?
I wanted to lure the culprit out.
Oh, fuck off.
If I claimed to be the culprit, then the real culprit would agree as well. You get me? And if they pressured me to confess, then that would have looked mighty suspicious.
Would it?
Sheesh. Darn it. It didn't go my way because Shuichi butted in on my plan.
Like, would that really have proven anything, dog?
You and your fucking lies! Go sit in the corner and play with yourself!
Don't do the second thing.
Okay, I'll start right now.
Oh.
Alright, so who's the asshole who set up this locked room mystery?
You. I can't hold it up anymore.
What's the matter? You going soft on me now?
Guys. Guys, like, you need to stop this.
Who made the locked room mystery doesn't matter, since anyone could have done it.
Yeah, this didn't really do much, did it?
Don't you even understand something as basic as that, you filthy cum dumpster?
Cum dumpster!
Guys.
Finally! Someone finally called me a cum dumpster!
Guys. Please. I'm begging you. Stop.
What should we talk about now?
God. Please.
We must focus not on the locked room, but on who entered Angie's lab. Only one of the student council members or Kokichi could have gained entry. Therefore, the culprit must be among their number.
That leaves us with 4 suspects. Tsumugi, Gonta, Kibo, and Kokichi.
Don't forget Himiko. She's also a part of the student council. Doesn't matter if she was besties with Angie, she's still a suspect.
That contradicts what you said earlier, which I can prove using my recording function.
It's fine. It's just a waste of time.
Me? A suspect? I her kill Angie!
So, calling all suspects, what should we discuss next? I want to hear everyone's opinion. What would you say to get yourself off the suspect list?
Why are you trying to lead the debate? You're a suspect too.
To be fair, if we're being honest, all of us are, so...
Silence, outsider. Only the suspect rangers are allowed to speak.
Suspect rangers?
I agree. Those under suspicion should explain themselves thoroughly.
We might catch them with their pants down.
Anyway, I want to ask the suspect rangers, what should we talk about? What should we say to get ourselves off the suspect list? Well, guys, I want to hear what you think.
That's sort of a difficult question, you know?
It's kind of like when someone goes, tell a joke right now, you know?
Gonta not smart enough to know answer to that.
Yes, it is difficult to formulate a logical response to that question.
Not articulate with words, huh? Don't you guys want to prove your innocence?
They don't trust you one bit, and I don't blame them. You're probably plotting...
Why did Tenko have to die?
Huh?
I want to know what happened to Angie too, but... Can we talk about Tenko's case now and not just Angie?
I got you exactly where I wanted, Himiko.
Yeah?
What do you mean?
The two victims could have been killed by two separate murderers, you know.
So...
So we need to find the first Blackened responsible for the first victim.
Right.
We've got to figure out who killed Angie.
Yeah.
Until we solve Angie's case, Tenko's case is meaningless.
I mean, I guess...
Did you suggest that to waste our time?
It's not meaningless! Tenko's death was meaningless? How dare you!
Like, guys, there's also the possibility that the second murder will in some way lead us to the answer of the first murder. Right? Like, just because, like, even if they're two different people that killed them, like, a clue from the second murder could help with the first murder somehow.
Poor Tenko! How could you do this to her? Himiko...
Like, suppose it was Tenko that killed Angie, right? We'd need to, by proxy, solve the second murder to figure out the first murder.
Himiko, stop it with your crappy lies.
Lies?
Everything you said is total BS. You didn't give two shits about Tenko when she was alive. But now you're like, oh no, poor Tenko, after she's dead. Come on, really?
That's not really weird, though.
Kokichi, enough!
No. It's okay. It's no surprise he'd think that.
Like, sometimes you don't know what you have till it's gone, you know?
I know I ignored Tenko before. That's why I'm so upset now. I should have faced Tenko. Worked things out with her while she was still alive. But now, it's too late. I can't complain to her or thank her. It's too late.
Yeah, seriously! It's way too late to realize that now. Our only option is to face her death head on.
Yeah? Face her death?
Himiko, I understand what you're going through. So I'm gonna help you out. Let's work together to find the truth. I'm not gonna let anyone say her death didn't matter.
Kaito. Alright. I'll put a silencing curse on whoever calls Tenko's death meaningless. The name of the curse is... Death Curse!
I guess that does silence you.
I, suppose being dead would silence someone pretty good.
Listen up! All you guys are gonna help out too. Abandoning someone who died and only thinking about your own survival. That's just as bad as a hit and run! I won't forgive something so messed up!
Tenko was our friend. Gonta wanna know why she died too!
I already told you that's so unnecessary.
I like how we've
We're getting
also, like...
sidetracked here.
Again, I can infer it's two different murderers because of the way everybody is acting from my perspective. But from their perspective, they sure are deciding it's two different murderers really quickly, given they don't actually have any evidence for that yet.
No, even if it was a different culprit, we need to know how Tenko
Like,
died.
you guys have no evidence that indicates it was two different culprits.
If we don't find out who killed her, we won't be able to work together. Not now, not ever. Even if this trial isn't for her, in order for us to survive, we need to get to the bottom of Tenko's death. Not just to survive this trial, but so we can keep going and live on!
It just seems weird. I feel like some strange, like, logical conclusions are being drawn by the characters in this case. Which I haven't really felt with any of the others.
Finally, you noticed. Jeez, you're so slow.
Huh? Did Kokichi want us to notice?
Don't listen to his crap. We haven't decided whether there were two different culprits yet.
Yeah, and yet we keep talking as if it's a done deal.
Let us talk about Tenko's case then. Perhaps that will provide us a clue.
Yeah, maybe.
They're not wrong, though, but I don't mind going over Tenko's case. But that was an abrupt change of topic. Was that intentional? Guys, look, you don't even know it's two different murderers yet. Why have you just decided that?
So, what do we talk about first?
Just because two murders happened? What if, like, Tenko could have figured something out, or could have figured, like, what if they knew Tenko could have solved it somehow, so they killed Tenko, right? Like, there's still reasons to kill a second person.
For now, let's see if we can narrow down the list of suspects.
Tancrotch probably got killed during the seance, so everyone there's suspicious. Tancrotch!
People who attended the seance. Yes.
That's it!
I threw a lot of names at me. I had to think about that real hard.
Kyo, Himiko, and Kokichi.
So those four are the culprits!
Oh, Himiko's still culprit?
Those four? Like, all of them?
Well, that's probably just a coinkydink. The most suspicious out of the four is really... Kyo. He suggested the whole seance idea.
I don't disagree.
True, I may have suggested it, but I explained the procedure beforehand, yes?
He did want to do it before anything happened at all. So it's not suspicious that he'd suggest it, because he would have took any excuse.
If we all knew of it before the murder, then we are all equally suspicious.
Well, that's not true because you pushed for it, but I don't really consider that evidence given he would have took any excuse to do it.
Well, I suppose, but...
In addition, the seance wasn't entirely in my control either. I was not the one who selected the room we performed it in. It was Himiko.
True. And this was set up, like, this had to be set up ahead of time. That's the thing, isn't it? Like, this needed to be done in advance of this all happening.
Oh, right.
Also, we should not limit our suspects to only those who participated in the seance. The empty room had a point of entry from outside, you see.
He must be referring to... Do you want me to point at the floor? Not that?
Oh no!
You mean the gap at the back?
There!
Okay. That's a pretty small gap.
You're talking about under the floor, right?
Huh? Under the
Wait, no, it was just under... Why wasn't that part okay then?
Yes, there's a crawl space under the floor a person can move through. There was also a hole that connected it to the neighboring room.
If the culprit used the hole, they could have entered and exited the seance room.
If we consider that possibility, then there is another suspect.
Another suspect? Who?
It's appearing before me. Oh, I can see it clearly. The true identity of Tenko's killer.
Yeah?
The culprit sneaked in during the seance by crawling under the floor.
Wait, did he say
But it was
sneaked?
pitch black during the
It's
seance.
snuck.
How could they even see if they were under the floor?
Because it wasn't dark under the floor. You see, our villain had a light.
Light? You mean candle?
I mean, Kibo's flashlight function.
Huh? Now hold on a second.
Kibo could have used that function to get under the floor and sneak into the empty room during the seance!
I said hold on a second.
He used his robot functions to commit the murders.
Hold on a second.
Uh-huh. Is that
The
possible?
culprit sneaked in during the seance.
Uh,
Under the floor.
what does it say exactly? Just that he has blinding light?
That it was pitch
Are we
black
gonna say
during
it's
the
too? But
seance.
I assume we're going to say it would have shined through the holes.
Our villain had
Well,
Light? You mean candle?
I mean, Kibo's flashlight function.
Huh? Now
yeah,
hold
it's gonna
on
be
a
like
second.
that. We would. Well, I guess yeah. Even if
Kibo could
we
have
would have
used
seen
that
it
function
through
to
the
get under.
gap at the back as well. Really,
The culprit sneaked in during the
loose
seance
floorboard then.
by crawling. Our
Use it
villain
on
had a light.
this one instead. Okay, Jesus Christ.
I don't think the culprit could have used a light while under the floor. There was a hole in the corner of the room. If a light were used, it would have leaked through and we would have seen it.
I.
But when we did the seance, the room was definitely
I'm not
pitch black.
convinced that's true. Like, yeah, if you used Kibo's flashlights, maybe. But what if you just used a candle? Like, it's not like a candle puts out a drastic amount of light.
So a light was not shined under the floor, which means you cannot claim I am the culprit.
Jeez, here I thought this would be the case where the murder could only be done by a robot.
You have accused me of being the culprit more than once now, simply because I am a robot. My status as a robot does not mean I am capable of performing superhuman feats. My vision is somewhat poor, and I only possess average physical strength and intelligence.
I'm also not really sure you even need a light under the floor. I've kind of thought this every time they've used light as an excuse, but like, if you knew where you were going when you got under the floorboard, you could feel your way along to the correct destination, especially if you had already cut one of the beams out. Because you just have to, like, line yourself up with where you know the gap is under the floor. Go that way, and then feel along the ceiling over you until you feel the part that's not there anymore. And then you know you're in the right place. So, I don't feel like you even need a light under the floorboards, really. Because you could just feel your way there. There's, like, distinct things under there you could be touching.
All right, you made your point. God, now I feel sort of bad for you.
I neither want nor need your pity.
Enough with the flashlight! It's way too bright!
It would have been difficult to move around under the floor in that pitch black darkness. Maybe the floor and the hole have nothing to do with this case.
Then why was floorboard under Tenko lined up funny? Gonta thinks that was so culprit could stab Tenko from under floor.
Yeah? Seems like it.
Ooh, nice observation, Gonta. Are you finally getting used to the class trials?
Uh-huh. Thank you.
Don't say it like that. You're better off not being used to this kind of stuff.
Maybe they marked Tenko with glowing paint and looked for that.
This, tingles a distant memory.
That'd let the culprit find her. Then they could stab her through the floorboards.
Okay, like, let's not go too hard on this. Like,
Boy, that sounds really familiar too. But I'm just gonna ignore it.
Her corpse didn't have any trace of glowing paint, though.
Oh, yeah. So then why was that floorboard loose?
The loose floorboard was the one under Tenko, right? If the culprit used it while she was still alive, she'd totally notice.
Who fucking cares? Fussing over that won't get us closer to the culprit!
what are you talking about?
We
Why?
shouldn't dismiss this line of inquiry, however. Instead of butting our heads against this, how about we concentrate on another issue?
What other issue?
Perhaps first, we should figure out how and when exactly Tenko was killed.
When? So not during seance?
Tenko was in the metal cage for the whole seance, wasn't she? How could someone have gotten to her there?
Maybe the culprit killed her before she went under the metal cage.
Dude. No.
That's not possible. She was alive at that point.
Like, yeah, like, pretty obviously.
Yes. She was unmistakably alive when the seance began.
Yep.
That was right before we blew out the candles. But when the light came back...
The floorboard was removed at that point, so it's likely she was already dead then.
So she was killed when the room was dark?
But she was inside cage, right? Going to think it impossible to kill her then.
Then she wasn't killed when the room was dark. It was a different time.
A different time?
How the fuck should I know? You figure it out, shitheads.
You can't just be like, what if? Okay, what makes you say that? I don't know. Figure it out. Dude.
Huh? Since Gonta said it was impossible, I'm proposing an alternate theory. Now hurry up and think!
Why couldn't it have just been through the floor, though?
If you want to make my golden brain tingle, start circle jerking your lipstick brains!
Didn't someone say something about when the sheet was removed?
When Tenko got killed, it wasn't during the seance.
Right, well, we examined the cage. Didn't Maki, I think, say something about them maybe dying as it was removed?
It could not have been done at any other time.
Right? Am I imagining that? Did someone say that? There's blood on the back around the middle of the sheet, but there's no blood on that. Okay.
She was under the cage the whole time.
Uh-huh.
And she was dead when the cage was lifted.
What about moment cage was lifted?
Oh wait, no, that's what they said, wasn't it?
Like that.
When cage lifted, culprit stabbed Tenko real fast. So fast, no one saw.
Oh my!
So who lifted the cage?
It was me.
Please
Then
stop.
obviously Himiko is the culprit!
There's no doubt!
Please? What are you doing? Stop that. Might not be impossible, but there's no evidence
When
for it.
Tenko got killed,
Someone said something about her dying as the cage got lifted earlier.
She was under the cage the whole time. And she was dead when the cage was lifted.
What about moment cage was lifted?
like...
Fast. So fast, no one saw.
Then Himiko is the culprit!
No, it has to be on... Has to be white sheet, right, on the second one? Because if there's blood on the sheet, that must have been over her when she got stabbed. Yeah. So there wouldn't... If it was when the cage got lifted, there wouldn't be blood on the sheet.
No, it wasn't possible to kill her the moment the cage was lifted. Because the inside of the white cloth had Tenko's blood on it.
I feel like someone said that earlier. Am I going crazy? Did I imagine an entire interaction?
That cloth was removed before the cage was lifted. If Tenko was stabbed then, there wouldn't be blood on
I could also see blood under the cloth before they removed it. I was like, oh, she's dead under there. Before they did anything, I could see the blood.
What? But how could my golden brain be wrong when it felt so right?
The only possibility
I wonder that every time I'm wrong.
I got your remodel right
Oh,
here.
Christ.
No, it's still wrong to think that Tenko was killed during the seance.
What?
I'm gonna prove it right now. My golden brain is gonna go all out!
Okay.
Tenko died.
What does Tenko's last moment say exactly? Crouched position, injury on the back of her neck was deep, but probably not enough to kill her immediately. Oh, it was on the back of her neck. Yeah, that's right.
After the seance. It happened when the sheet was lifted. That was the moment the culprit chose to stab the fuck out of Tenko through the cage.
We already
They
pointed
stuck
out
the
this
thin
wasn't
blade through the
true.
gap, and that clean white sheet got stained blood red.
But the weapon was a sickle. Only the blade could have fit through the gaps.
The blade's all you need. If you stick the blade through a gap in the cage, it'd be long enough to reach Tenko. Sitting in there with her neck all exposed. She wasn't that far from the cage's gaps. In which case, the person who lifted the sheet is the... And that's none other than Kyo!
Okay, so it's probably Tenko's last moments.
The blade's all you need. If you stick the blade through a gap in the cage, it'd be long enough to reach Tenko. Sitting in there with her neck all exposed.
Yeah. Because she's not sitting in there exactly.
Wait just a minute. Tenko wasn't sitting down inside the cage. She was bent over with her forehead against the marker stone, and the cage itself was about 3 feet tall. The sickle's blade was too short to reach Tenko while she was in that position.
Wait, didn't somebody say the opposite of that earlier?
How could this happen? I am so embarrassed.
Didn't she say the blade on the sickle was long enough earlier? What is the sickle? That's not the right thing at all. How long is the blade on the sickle? Sickle. Blade was about 6 inches. I don't know how long that is. That's probably not 3 feet, I guess.
No worries,
I thought
Mew.
someone said it was
Everyone already
longer than
knows You're an
that.
embarrassment to the human race.
I guess I'm imagining all sorts of conversations today.
Yeah, no worries.
How embarrassing!
If Shuichi is right, then it's impossible for Tenko to have been killed through the cage.
She couldn't have been killed during the seance since she was in the cage, right?
Did we not talk about through the floor?
If she was killed then, the cloth over the cage would have been pierced.
Not during the seance or from below the floor. Then it's impossible, isn't it?
Oh! Maybe... Oh, that sounds ridiculous. But if I'm right, I'll be a genius. So... No, this... Am I gonna say this? It sounds outrageous. This... am I gonna do this? Okay, I'm gonna do this. What if... No, there's no way. No. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, for a living person.
Huh?
Now, how would they even arrange that with what happened after that? Okay, so what I was thinking was, what if, when Kyo put the blanket on top of the cage, he snuck the sickle into the cage as well? Or into the top of the cage, and then when the seance started, he walked over and just went, and just, like, kicked the floorboard under her so that she'd fly up into the blades. But, surely they would have noticed when they put the statue on it after that, right? Or the statue would have made that, you know, it wouldn't have sat evenly on the cage, would it? Because the cage... Oh, maybe not. There is a lip on the top, so maybe? Because it could have been... Because otherwise they just stabbed her through the floorboards. And to be frank, at this point, that sounds too easy. You know, that sounds like not enough steps.
What if Angie's spirit killed Tenko?
What are you talking about? That's not possible.
You don't know that. Some things are impossible for a human, but not for a spirit.
Don't say stupid stuff like that.
Wait.
Screw spirits.
But Kyo did also say that the items needed to be removed in the same order. Which I thought at the time was kind of a weird stipulation to make, but Kyo's a weird guy. But he would have said that if he knew he'd put the sickle under there. Because then he definitely wouldn't want anyone else to take the sheet off instead of him.
Stop that now.
Angie's spirit killed Tenko? Why?
Himiko?
Why would Angie's spirit kill Tenko?
What if Tenko killed Angie, and then Angie's spirit came back for revenge?
Like I said, that's impossible. Spirits can't be culprits.
Then explain how the culprit killed Tenko under these impossible circumstances.
Well,
See? You can't explain, can you? Only a spirit could have done that!
Wait! I know! What if the culprit was hiding inside the cage?
That's an impressive jump. Would you like to explain how you got to that?
If they were in there, they could have stabbed Tenko during the seance.
No. If there was someone else in the cage, we would have noticed.
I agree with Kaito. The culprit could have been inside the cage.
What? What? Yeah, you do?
Nonsense. There was no space in the cage for the culprit to hide.
Maybe the culprit wouldn't need to hide in the first place.
What?
What?
Also, the culprit could have killed her in the cage at any time. I think you know what I'm getting at, right?
What? Who? Could have killed Tenko from inside the cage? I don't know how we got here. It was none of them. What? But... From inns? They were in the cage? Who? You? You're small. I don't understand. Someone was in the cage with Tenko? Do you mean Tenko? What?
I believe Maki is referring to Tenko herself.
Elaborate, please?
Are you saying Tenko is the culprit?
She committed suicide.
Suicide?
If she committed suicide, it would explain a lot of things we couldn't figure out. She volunteered to be in the cage, and then stabbed herself during the seance. It wouldn't matter how dark the room was.
But the sickle she was stabbed with was under the floor, right? If Tenko had stabbed herself, wouldn't the sickle still be inside the cage?
Oh my god. Mew actually said something smart.
Perhaps that explains why the floorboard was removed. After stabbing herself with the sickle, she threw it underneath the floor.
After stabbing herself in the neck?
So she took off the floorboard to get rid of the sickle?
After she stabbed herself in the neck.
Yes, that makes sense to Gonta.
After she stabbed herself in the neck?
Well, it doesn't make sense to me.
I must agree, to be honest.
There's no reason for Tenko to commit suicide.
Maybe I wasn't too far off with the theory I had earlier. You know, about Tenko killing Angie.
Yeah?
Because Tenko and Angie were fighting for your attention, right? Tenko's pent-up frustration led her to commit such an atrocity. Her conscience couldn't handle it anymore, so she decided to end her own life.
What?
But if she was gonna kill herself, why do it during the seance?
Yeah.
She wanted to hide the truth of her suicide.
Really? Why?
There could only be one reason to hide it in a killing game, right?
But she'd already be dead, so why would it matter?
It's to take us down with her.
Really?
Take us down?
She wanted us to pick the wrong answer during the class trial, so she could bring us all down. She wanted us to die with her.
Really?
Okay, well, she probably just wanted Himiko to die with her, but still.
She didn't really seem like the type to want to kill everyone.
What are you saying? Tenko wasn't like that. She told me.
What if all of that was just a lie?
A lie?
Wait, we should believe Tenko's last words.
The true terror of class trials is that you shouldn't believe everything said.
Himiko, you said that Tenko would never do anything like that. But how can you be so sure? Did you guys actually know each other? People keep all sorts of secrets. Like Maki. She hid the fact that she's a cold-blooded killer. Is it wise of us to trust other people wholeheartedly in this
I
kind
feel
of
like
situation?
comparing Maki hiding herself to Tenko hiding herself isn't really like the same thing. Maki was transparently not what she said she was.
Jeez, you're such a naive dude.
Naive?
We're all just people, you know? Of course we're gonna have some secrets. What matters is whether there's any malice behind them.
People can lie about how malicious their hidden secrets really are.
Well, duh. It's impossible to know for sure what others are thinking. That's why it all comes down to whether or not you believe in yourself. If you get betrayed, it's not their fault. It's your fault for believing in them. That's why I believed in Maki Roll, because I wanted to believe in her.
I don't know about all that.
Just because you're acting all cool doesn't mean you get to skip training.
Hey, come on. Don't you think you're being a little too strict?
Well, we come from different backgrounds. So for now, let's agree to disagree. No one's ever called me naive before. And from Kaito? Seriously?
You are like 12, though. At least you look it.
I believe. My heart can't reach Tenko anymore. But I want to believe in her. She wouldn't commit suicide. She wouldn't try to take us down.
This, I mean, it's pretty wild.
That's what I want to believe.
Me too. Gonta no can believe Tenko commits suicide.
But if Tenko did commit suicide, that would answer all of our questions.
But she stabbed herself in the neck and then did does the file say if she died instantly or not? Because if it doesn't, resulting in death doesn't say sudden death, I guess.
If you insist we believe in Tenko, then provide a reason to do so.
Proper reason.
I'll give you a reason.
Is there a reason?
Yes, there is. Will you trust me, Maki? If it turns out I'm wrong, you can blame me all you like. But for now, I need you to trust in my detective
Does
work.
that mean we're about to lie? I don't believe Tenko would kill herself because of what she said. Uh-huh. Which is true, she did say that. See you guys after. Just because we don't know how she was killed doesn't mean that it was suicide. We wouldn't be satisfied with that if we keep thinking, we'll find the truth. And that means we have to believe in Tenko. I'll make them all believe. So are we about to lie about something?
So far, suicide seems to be the best explanation.
Her plan was to take us down with her. So she hid her true intentions.
Tenko's not that kind of person! But if Tenko did commit suicide, it would explain how she died during the seance.
She could have secretly brought the sickle. And then stabbed herself with it!
Finally, with the last of her strength, she threw the sickle underneath the floor. All the pieces fit.
Do I put the file on that? Guess I should have read what Shuichi said. Like, it doesn't say instant death, but it does say resulting in death. Does that mean the same thing?
And then stabbed herself with it!
I'm not really convinced on the... But probably not enough to kill her immediately. Never mind, I guess.
Finally, with the last of her strength, she
Oh,
threw
yes.
the sickle
Lie.
underneath all the pieces.
I see, yes. I wasn't sure what that lie would turn into, but instant death makes sense as the lie.
Finally, with the last...
Yeah, alright.
I'll reveal the truth.
Yeah, I don't mind really lying here because it seems like quite the jump.
Tenko couldn't have thrown the sickle under the floor.
To be honest, I doubt she could have done this anyway, especially the way it was down there, like stabbed into the ground in the corner, blade first. Like, that would have been an impressive toss.
Because she died instantly.
Instantly?
I'm certain of it. My investigation determined that she died instantly.
What's your opinion, Maki? I'd like to hear from someone who specializes in murder.
Maki.
You're right. I completely forgot about that important detail. Tenko died instantly.
What?
As an assassin, I specialize in killing my targets swiftly. I have no doubt that Tenko was killed immediately.
Words of a true killer. Pretty sure we can believe everything she said.
How could you forget that, Maki Roll? You better apologize to Shuichi.
Yeah, that's right.
Excuse me?
Yeah, come on.
It's okay, Kaito, really. No apology
No,
necessary.
no, apologize.
Anyway, Tenko died so suddenly that she couldn't have gotten rid of the sickle.
I don't even really consider this to be a lie.
Knowing that, the theory that she killed herself just doesn't fit, correct?
Just like I thought. Tenko wouldn't commit suicide.
Thank goodness, Himiko.
Which means someone definitely killed Tenko during the seance.
Her suicide was considered because we could not determine how she was killed.
No! There must have been a way! We're gonna figure it out!
Did any of the participants witness anything peculiar during the
Yes,
seance?
a noise.
If you know something, please speak up. It could be the key to solving this mystery.
We should remember what happened at the seance. Let's try to remember. I'm sure there's something. Need some kind of clue that will help solve this mystery. Noise? Yep.
Did anything seem out of the ordinary during the seance?
There is something that bothers me. The fact that the seance failed. The ritual was perfect, and yet it failed. How utterly strange.
Now that I think about it, while we were all singing the song, I heard something fall.
No, please. Please.
I'm more concerned about how dark it got in there.
Why am I so
it
bad?
was totally pitch black. My job was to relight the candles. Moving along the walls was seriously tough.
What if it's not sound during the seance? What if it turns out it actually wants me to use loose floorboard?
Think about it. We're all singing and fall.
Okay, thank God.
I agree! Himiko, you think that something fell because of that sound you heard, right?
Yes, yes, we remember.
It sounded like something heavy fell down and hit the floor really hard. What could have fallen down?
Fallen down? There wasn't anything on the ceiling that could have fallen down, right?
Yeah. Am I wrong? I thought something
Fell?
but
I didn't really think that.
The sound was pretty loud. It did seem like something hit the floorboards.
Something hit the floorboards. Maybe that sound had something to do with the other thing that happened in the dark. Other thing that happened in the dark? What, you mean... You mean the murder? That's the other thing that happened in the dark, right? No? Loose floorboard there, then?
This is it!
Okay.
I think the floorboard coming off had something to do with that sound.
Yeah.
That floorboard came loose at some point during the seance, right?
Could the floorboard have made such a loud sound, though?
It was the sound of an intense impact.
Yeah. So we go. Are we going back? We're looping back around to stomping on the floorboard.
If If the impact was that intense, then it could have loosened the floorboard.
That's true. There would have been a strong enough impact to make that sound. But what was it? What could it possibly be?
All right then, let's go with that. We all gotta put our heads together now. So what made the floorboard come loose?
Judging from the sound, there must have been considerable force.
Someone who participated in the seance. Maybe that person tore off the floorboard.
That wouldn't make such a loud crashing sound.
Maybe the wooden statue fell over.
But that statue was still on top of the cage.
Culprit hide under floor. Then stood up with such might.
But we already said there was no one under the floor.
Someone must have stomped through the floorboard.
Okay, that's the...
Floorboard that comes loose when you step on it is dangerous.
That's what I agree with.
God, it's like I'm the only one here who's staying on the ball.
You hardly have any experience with balls.
Want me to use cross piece for that?
Don't be stupid. Don't you know me and balls are the best of friends?
Okay. Do you want cross piece? Because I agree with the stomping.
Someone who participated in the seance.
Go on. Go on. Maybe I am a genius. Maybe I was correct the whole time.
Someone must have stomped.
Time.
I agree.
I'm a genius. Trying to bait me with Tenko committed suicide.
Right. The floorboard came loose because someone stomped on it.
The floorboards fit perfect. Going to make sure first time we go to empty room.
When we first saw the room, yes. But when I looked again during the investigation, one of the cross pieces supporting the floorboards was cut off. After examining the cut, I concluded that it must have been done deliberately.
Someone? You mean the culprit, right? Why'd they...
What did the culprit stand to gain by cutting the cross piece?
It made it into a seesaw. To solve the case, I'll need to think carefully about the cross piece and the floorboard. Tenko's body was at one end of the loose floorboards. Guys, I'm a fucking genius. The unsupported part outside the cage, so it could have been stomped on. Only one of the cross pieces was cut, the other two were intact. One of them was right under Tenko, and the other was in the center, right about where the edge of the cage was. It has to have been Kyo then, right? Like, he's the only one that would have known to do this, like, all of this in advance, because he knows the seance ritual. What was the culprit attempting to achieve by stamping on the floorboard? Guys, I'm a fucking genius. Fuck, what do you want me to put in that? Seesaw? Yeah. But what's the second word? Oh, it's not? Oh, wait, no, it's not seesaw?
We can't.
C-E? Did I hit the wrong one? No, I did. Okay, I hit the wrong one, I guess. Saw. What's the second word?
I see now.
Didn't really think effect would have... Effect isn't the choice of word I would have used, but...
That's right. The floorboard might have been used as a seesaw.
Huh? A seesaw?
The crosspiece at one end of the floorboard had been cut off.
I'm a genius.
The other two crosspieces holding up that board were close to the cage, meaning If you were to apply force to the end of the floorboard with no crosspiece, the next crosspiece would act as a fulcrum to turn the floorboard into a lever. A lever capable of lifting up Tenko's entire body.
Her whole body lifted up?
Yeah, that sounds like a seesaw, all right. But why bother lifting Tenko's body?
They couldn't have killed Tenko like that. Unless they used the sickle.
That's exactly it. Using the seesaw trick, it was possible to kill Tenko with a sickle.
Huh? How?
Guys, I'm so smart. I'm a genius.
In order for the culprit to
I'm
kill
such a
Tenko
gamer.
with a seesaw
Wow.
trick, the placement of the sickle is the most important factor.
The floorboard seesaw, the cage, and the blood on the white fabric. What conclusion can I draw from this? There's only one place the sickle could have been that is consistent with the evidence. The top of the cage.
That's it! The sickle was at the top of the iron cage, with the blade facing down.
Oh, it feels so good to have been right. Try to
The
bait,
reason we
fuck you.
didn't see it was because of the fabric covering the cage.
Fuck yeah. Tenko committed suicide.
Also, the wooden statue kept the blade in place. It's true that the sickle's handle was thick, which made the statue wobble, but the statue's weight kept it from falling over. Once everything was in place, if you stepped hard enough on the seesaw, Tenko's
Gotta
body
have been
would
him.
have shot
Gotta have been
upward
Kyo.
and hit the blade on the top of the cage. She was bent over, meaning the sickle's blade would have connected with her neck.
The 6-inch sickle blade wasn't long enough to stab Tenko in her crouched position. But with the floorboard acting as a seesaw, it could compensate for the blade's length.
The question becomes why, though?
Bringing the victim to the sickle rather than bringing the sickle to the victim. That's definitely an unorthodox idea.
Remember to stay hydrated.
It's crazy, but it would explain how Tenko got stabbed while she was in the cage.
So the sound we heard was the culprit stomping on the floorboard.
That impact make floorboard come loose.
There's only two people it could have been in this case, which is Kokichi and Kyo, because they were on that side of the room. Because what I'm assuming happened was Kyo ran his hand along the wall until he felt the candle, and then he knew he was lined up with the floorboard. He already knows how everything is on the floor, so he wouldn't have disturbed it after that.
Looks like we got ourselves a good old-fashioned seesaw homicide.
Kokichi, however, I don't think he did it, but...
Wait, what the hell's a seesaw
He's-
homicide? That's fucking crazy!
Like, Kokichi's the only other option given the state the room was in, and it seems unlikely Kokichi would have set all that up.
The craziness is what really makes the killing game fun, you know?
Especially with Kyo insisting that, like, he remove the sheet.
They can't get away with murder the normal way, so they gotta think outside the box.
But why did he do it?
Kudos, culprit! You did a great job keeping me entertained.
Indeed. Well played, Himiko.
Yeah?
It was you, wasn't it? The one behind the seesaw homicide.
Why her?
Because she's the only one capable of carrying out this plan.
Why?
The only one? Why's that?
Because this seesaw homicide required its location to be prepared beforehand.
That's true.
By cutting the crosspiece beneath the floorboard, you mean?
Then the culprit would need to lure their victim into the prepared room.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. She said the middle room.
That is why you chose that room for the seance. Is it not, Himiko?
Oh yeah! Himiko was the one who chose the site for the seance!
I guess that's true. But how did she do it during the seance? Well, no, I guess she could, because she could do the same thing, because that's where the... She would have been on the side with the path. So she could have done the same thing, and then just walked around the side of the cage once she got to it. So I guess it could have also been her.
She likely found out
why?
about for the seance somehow.
Again, the question is why, exactly?
You were quite vocal about the seance, Kyo. You even had instructions for it in your lab.
Our culprit, Himiko, prepared her seesaw trap ahead of time. Then she waited for me to host the seance, and suggested the middle room.
But how did she know you'd ask where to do it?
She led us all into holding the seance right where she wanted it.
Like, but how did she know you were gonna, like, do this?
Then, she killed Tenko. All according to plan.
Like, there's the question of why she did it, but then there's also the fact that, like, so she knew you were gonna suggest it ahead of time, and that you were going to ask where it was going to be done?
That's a lie, right? Himiko did such a thing?
Are there any cuts on Himiko's hands?
In the end, Himiko, who Tenko cherished and loved,
Because, they cut their hand while they were sawing the crosspiece. And, like, we can see her hands, we can't see Kyo's. So are there any cuts on Himiko's hands? Kind of determines which of the two it was.
Wait! We don't know that, right? He's wrong, right, Himiko? Himiko would never kill Tenko.
I
right?
don't think it was her, but I guess we do need to establish.
Kill Tenko? I killed Tenko?
Himiko?
What's wrong, Himiko?
It's true using the middle room was Himiko's idea. But does that mean Himiko really killed Tenko? Would something like that really happen? Something so cruel.